invite our very special guest and inspiration for all of us from long time, one of the senior most officers in Government of Maharashtra, Mr. K.P. Bakshi, Additional Chief Secretary, Home Department, Government of Maharashtra, Foreign Affairs. A round of applause for Mr. Bakshi.
Good morning and welcome to Mumbai in the India Port Summit 2015. As you must be knowing, I have a very limited role in port development. I limit my talk to only Maharashtra because I can talk about security of the ports, the coastal security, entire coastal security of 720 kilometers. But before going to security aspects, I would like to touch upon some other important issues for port development in Maharashtra. From my experience, I can tell you that Maharashtra state ports, which have been thrown open for development by the private investors, have gone through different phases. The first phase was when the Maritime Board decided that we will privatize Maharashtra ports. That time the perception of the government was that once you invite the private investors, there will be a lot of takers and there will be huge competition. People may pay you money for taking up the ports. Therefore, the policies that were framed those days were very tough. In today's scenario, if you see those policies, then I think they are very tough and they are not investor friendly. Policies need to change, need to be looked into every 5 years, and corrections have to be made. Unfortunately, the same policy continues till today, and therefore many investors who wish to invest and many who have invested, both are very careful in coming to Maharashtra. What are the reasons? I can give you a few reasons and a few solutions. First reason is that traffic coming from the north gets captured in Gujarat to the maximum extent. Because of the distance, because of the proximity, and because of the services that are available. Ports like Kandla, Adani Port, Maritime Board ports, they don't have the patience, they don't have the time, and they don't get the services in Maharashtra ports. Therefore, the entire traffic of north gets captured by Gujarat ports, and to some extent by Mumbai and JNPT ports. If you have to develop these state ports, then 4 things are very, very, very important. What is the first one? First one is the connectivity of Maharashtra ports, state ports. Connectivity to the nearest national highway, expressway. Second, development of the multi-modal corridor, about which we have been talking for some years now. Third, the DMIC, Delhi-Mumbai Industrial Corridor. And fourth, the coastal road that we are now talking about. If you do not have these 4 things in place, and very soon, it is difficult for Maharashtra ports to take off and compete with other ports. Let's take up the connectivity. In connectivity, there was a policy, the present policy says that the connectivity to the national highway is the responsibility of the investor. Now the investor many investors have invested, they come with this logic that if I do the connectivity today, it's only my traffic which is going. There is no other traffic coming there. So I only pay for the, whatever you are saying that the toll collection will be sufficient for recovering the investment is not true, because only it's my traffic and some little traffic from outside. So do I develop an port first, or I do the connectivity? Therefore, do not put the responsibility of connectivity on us. Even though the policy is there, please change the policy. This is what the argument is. In this context, let me tell you that Maharashtra government appointed a committee under Dr. Vijay Kelkar to look into the reasons for imbalanced development between the 3 or 4 important regions of Maharashtra. Vidarbha on one side, Marathwada, Western Maharashtra, and Konkan in particular. This committee worked for about 2 years. I was the member secretary as planning secretary of Maharashtra. I was associated with this committee for almost 1.5 years. Mr. Kunte was there for the first 6 months or 9 months. Then I took over and I helped the committee in finalizing the report. In this committee, the committee has suggested what measures should be taken to make sure that Vidarbha, Maharashtra, that is Marathwada, rest of Maharashtra including Konkan, how they can develop at the same pace. If you see the report, which is available on mahasdb.maharashtra.gov.in, on the right hand side you will find the report. If you see the port development chapter, it's very clearly mentioned that now is the time to take up connectivity from state side, whether it is by the center or by the state government, but do not put the responsibility of development of connectivity on the investor, because the investor is concentrating on port development and traffic so that he can reduce his investment and financial burden. He can't be asked to connect. There are 22 connectors in Maharashtra which are required, but at least in phases we can take up the connections. This is very clearly mentioned, and the entire estimate has been given in the report. What is the total estimate for completing all these 22 connectors even before the private investors come? That is first thing that should be done, and it is doable because the money required is not much. Luckily, there are 2 very good coincidences for the state of Maharashtra. One, Mr. Gadkari is from Maharashtra and he is heading the right department. He knows the entire state. He has experience of PWD in Maharashtra, and it's not a new minister from outside who has to understand, he knows everything. That is the first good coincidence, and he also is heading the shipping ministry. Second good coincidence is that the railway minister is also from Maharashtra. Therefore, both the issues of road connectivity and rail connectivity, rail sidings, both the issues can be taken up by the departments as well as by the investors very, very vigorously, and I think it's easy now than ever to get the connectivity, whether rail connectivity or road connectivity of state ports in Maharashtra done. This is the first point, that is the easiest that is possible to do. Second is DMIC. Now DMIC has already taken off the important areas falling in Nashik and Aurangabad. It will extend up to Raigad also. So entire work has started and it is going with good speed. So you can expect that the corridor will be in place in a very short time. Third is a coastal road which has been taken up by the state government at the highest level. That is also now going to see the light of the day. Only one thing which is not got the attention of the central government is the multimodal corridor. That has to be taken up by all of you at the government level. Government of Maharashtra cannot alone take up this big project because huge financial responsibilities, financial implications are there. So if all prominent investors, prominent people in the shipping industry and the government officials, they take it up with the government of India, then the fourth important thing for Maharashtra port development will also be in place. The most important thing from my point of view today as Home Secretary is coastal security and port security. We have been telling the ports which are in position that please do not limit yourself to ISPS, because Maharashtra is very vulnerable. So the security should be ISPS plus. And we are able to, we have an organization here called the Maharashtra State Security Corporation, which is producing, which is giving excellent security as compared to CISF. CISF will cost you about 40,000 per person, whereas State Security Corporation person, who is as good as police, will give you, we can give you by just taking 20,000 rupees a month. So it is half the cost. So what is required to be done? Each existing port has to get in touch with the MSSC and get a security audit done. This security audit is likely to be a little more than ISPS plus. Therefore, you ask for the security and we will give you any number of security personnel right across 720 kilometers. This is the first most important thing, that security audit of all these places must be done. Second, with the help of Government of India, we have now stepped up the coastal security. Coastal security, we will have about 44 police stations across Maharashtra. These police stations have got a jurisdiction which is defined, therefore the ports will also be covered. I would urge upon those investors who are there that if you can, or if you wish, we can locate the police station close to the port premises if you are coming for development, so that you can be rest assured that your security, your private security plus the police station will give you enough security for operation of the port. This is the fifth and the most important. We have a session in the afternoon in which people will be talking about port security and security of entire coastal area 720. The Sagarmala project I have been hearing for the last 15 years. Every government comes and they talk about Sagarmala and something goes wrong and it doesn't take place. But as rightly pointed out by Mr. Goenka, that in case this project is given impetus and we are able to have that mala in place, then traffic will go up, costs will come down, and hinterland development will get a boost. Economic development of the hinterland will get a boost. Therefore, that has to be kept in mind, and at the highest level, one must try to make sure that the policies of the state government and policies of the central government, they match and they supplement each other, so that we take up the development of the ports in Maharashtra. With these few words, I would like to thank Mr. Ravi Gupta and his colleagues, and thank you all for listening to me, and thank the colleagues on the dais who have listened to me patiently and given me a chance to talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your inspirational words and highlighting how Government of Maharashtra is looking towards port security and how port-led development in Sagarmala project can benefit the state as well as the country. Thank you very much. And now it's time for us to listen to